Sophie was 8 years old and was playing in the park when she suddenly disappeared. Screams, panic. While her parents went frantic, photographer Marcus Kane stayed calm. Camera in hand, he applied a systematic search pattern and found the kidnappers. From 300 yards away, he perfectly documented the faces of the men in the moving vehicle, the license plate, the escape route, all in crystal clear detail. This performance was only possible in one place, the expertise that someone who had trained for years in military sniper operations could possess. So where had Marcus learned this? Welcome to Veteran Stories. Before we begin this powerful story of hidden surveillance expertise, precision under pressure, and the snipers who continue protecting children in ways we never expect, tell me in the comments which city you're watching from today. And if you believe stories like this deserve to be told, hit that subscribe button. Some heroes use scopes for war, others use cameras for protection, but they never stop watching. Central Park Photography Studio sat on the edge of downtown Seattle, a cozy storefront that had become the go-to place for family portraits, wedding photography, and special occasions. The studio's warm atmosphere and professional quality had built a loyal clientele over the past 12 years. Marcus Kane, the owner and primary photographer, was known throughout the neighborhood for his patience with children, his eye for capturing perfect moments, and his ability to make even the most camera-shy clients feel comfortable. At 45, he had the calm demeanor and steady hands that made him particularly good at photographing families and special events. Marcus's approach to photography was methodical and precise. He scouted locations carefully, understood lighting conditions intuitively, and had an unusual ability to anticipate the perfect moment before it happened. Clients often commented on his uncanny skill at being in exactly the right place at exactly the right time. The studio walls displayed Marcus's work: beautiful wedding photos, touching family portraits, and stunning landscape shots that showcased both technical excellence and artistic vision. Nothing suggested any background beyond professional photography and a genuine love for capturing life's important moments. Marcus lived quietly, worked consistently, and had built a reputation as one of Seattle's most reliable and talented photographers. Tuesday afternoon, Marcus was scheduled for an outdoor family session with the Williams family, parents David and Sarah, and their 8-year-old daughter Sophie. They'd chosen Volunteer Park for the session, appreciating its natural beauty and variety of backgrounds for family photos. Sophie was an energetic child who loved being photographed, though like most kids her age, she had trouble sitting still for formal poses. Marcus had worked with the family before and knew how to keep Sophie engaged while getting the shots her parents wanted. The session was going well. Marcus had captured several beautiful family groupings and was working on some individual shots of Sophie when she asked if she could play on nearby playground while he adjusted his equipment for the next series of photos. "Stay where I can see you," Sarah called as Sophie ran toward the swing set about 50 yards away. Marcus was changing lenses when he heard Sarah scream. When Marcus looked up, he saw Sophie being forced into a van by 2 men while a third sat behind the wheel. The vehicle was already moving as Sophie disappeared into the back, and her parents were running toward the playground in panic. Most people would have frozen in shock or run to help the parents. Marcus did neither. Instead, he immediately shouldered his camera, a professional-grade DSLR with a 300mm telephoto lens, and began tracking the van with movements that were fluid, precise, and completely automatic. His focus wasn't on the chaos around him, but on gathering intelligence, documenting faces, recording the license plate, tracking the escape route, and capturing every detail that might help law enforcement locate Sophie. Marcus's camera work during those critical seconds was extraordinary. Despite the moving target, the distance, and the urgent circumstances, every shot was perfectly exposed, sharply focused, and captured details that would prove crucial. As the van sped away, Marcus continued photographing with a systematic approach that amazed the few witnesses who noticed his actions. He wasn't taking random shots hoping something would turn out. He was conducting a methodical surveillance operation. He captured the van from multiple angles, zoomed in on the license plate until it was clearly readable, photographed the faces of all 3 suspects through the vehicle's windows, and documented the exact direction of travel with landmarks that would help establish their route. But most remarkably, Marcus seemed to know exactly what information would be most valuable to investigators. He photographed street signs, captured timestamps, noted vehicle damage and distinctive markings, and even managed to document a partial view of Sophie in the back of the van that would later confirm she was alive. His technique revealed training that went far beyond civilian photography. This was intelligence gathering performed with military precision. When police arrived within minutes of the 911 call, they found Marcus calmly reviewing the photos on his camera's LCD screen while providing a detailed briefing to the first responding officers. Suspect vehicle is a blue Ford Transit van, Washington plate number David John 7429, Marcus reported. 3 male suspects. Driver appears to be Hispanic, approximately 35 to 40 years old. Passenger seat occupant is Caucasian, late 20s. Backseat suspect is African American, early 30s. Officer Jennifer Martinez, who was taking Marcus's statement, looked up from her notepad with surprise. Most witnesses provided vague descriptions and uncertain details. Marcus was delivering intelligence with the precision of a trained observer. "You got all that in the few seconds you had?" Marcus showed her the camera's display. "I got photos of everything." What Officer Martinez saw on the camera screen was remarkable. Crystal clear images that captured details she wouldn't have expected to be visible at that distance and speed. "How did you manage to get these shots?" "The van was moving. You were far away." "Long-range photography, professional equipment." But Martinez could see this wasn't just professional equipment. This was professional technique that suggested training beyond civilian photography. Detective Sarah Chen arrived at the scene within 20 minutes and immediately recognized that Marcus's photographs were the most valuable evidence they had. Not only were the images technically excellent, but they contained intelligence details that would significantly accelerate the investigation. "Mr. Kane," Detective Chen said after reviewing the photos, "this is exceptional documentation. Where did you learn surveillance photography?" "Just experience with telephoto lenses. This isn't just telephoto work. You captured intelligence details that suggest formal training in surveillance techniques." Marcus was uncomfortable with the attention. "I just wanted to help find Sophie." But Detective Chen had worked enough kidnapping cases to recognize the difference between lucky amateur photos and professional surveillance documentation. Marcus's work fell into the latter category. "The FBI is going to want to use these photos for their investigation. Can you walk us through exactly what you observed and how you captured these images?" Over the next hour, Marcus provided law enforcement with a detailed briefing that impressed both local police and the FBI agents who had taken over the case. His observations were precise, his recall was perfect, and his analysis of the suspect's behavior revealed insights that helped investigators understand the kidnappers' likely next moves. Based on their route and the driver's behavior, they're probably heading for Interstate 5 North, Marcus told the assembled law enforcement team. The driver was checking mirrors frequently, suggesting he's concerned about pursuit, but he's not driving erratically, which means this was planned rather than impulsive. FBI Special Agent Robert Torres, who was leading the investigation, looked at Marcus with new interest. "That's professional threat assessment. What's your background?" "Photography, 12 years. "Before that?" Marcus hesitated. "Different work." Agent Torres recognized evasiveness when he heard it. "Mr. Kane, your photographs and analysis could be the key to saving this child's life. If you have relevant experience that could help this investigation, we need to know." Marcus looked at the photos on his camera display, then at the faces of the law enforcement officers who were depending on his information to rescue Sophie. "Military," he said quietly. "Special operations. Staff Sergeant Marcus Kane, U.S. Army, retired. 12 years of military service as a designated marksman and reconnaissance specialist with the 75th Ranger Regiment. Multiple deployments to Afghanistan and Iraq involving long-range surveillance, target identification, and intelligence gathering in hostile environments." "You were a sniper," Agent Torres said, recognition dawning. designated marksman, reconnaissance and surveillance specialist. And now you're a wedding photographer? Marcus looked around at the law enforcement personnel who were preparing to rescue Sophie based on his intelligence. Different targets, same skill set. I observe, document, and provide intelligence that helps people accomplish their missions. Agent Torres understood now why Marcus's photography work had been so sophisticated. He hadn't been taking random pictures of kidnappers. He'd been conducting a reconnaissance mission using skills developed over years of military operations. Marcus's photographs and intelligence analysis led to Sophie's rescue within 6 hours of her abduction. The detailed documentation of the suspects and their vehicle enabled law enforcement to track them to a warehouse outside Seattle, where FBI tactical teams successfully recovered Sophie unharmed and arrested all 3 kidnappers. Without Mr. Kane's photographs and analysis, this case would have taken days or weeks to solve, Agent Torres told the media. His documentation provided us with the intelligence we needed to locate the suspects and rescue the victim quickly. But Marcus declined all interview requests and media attention. He was satisfied that Sophie was safe and wanted to return to his quiet civilian life. The Williams family, however, wanted to thank Marcus personally for saving their daughter's life. The day after Sophie's rescue, David and Sarah Williams visited Marcus's studio with their daughter, who was physically unharmed and remarkably resilient considering her ordeal. "Marcus," Sarah said, "we can never thank you enough for what you did. The police told us your photographs made the rescue possible. I'm just glad Sophie is safe." Sophie, who had been quiet since her rescue, looked up at Marcus with the directness that only children possess. "The police said you're a hero who used to be a soldier." Marcus knelt down to Sophie's eye level. "I used to have a different job, but now I take pictures of families like yours. Both jobs are about protecting people. They're just different ways of doing it." "Will you still take our family pictures?" "Anytime you want." The Williams family became Marcus's most loyal clients, but more importantly, they became advocates for recognizing the hidden expertise that veterans bring to civilian communities. Word of Marcus's role in Sophie's rescue spread through law enforcement circles, and he began receiving requests from police departments and FBI field offices to consult on cases involving surveillance photography and long-range documentation. "The techniques you used aren't taught in civilian photography courses," Detective Chen explained, "but they could be invaluable for law enforcement operations." Marcus was initially reluctant to become involved in active investigations, but he agreed to provide training to law enforcement photographers and consultation on cases where his specialized skills could help solve crimes or rescue victims. "I'll share techniques and provide analysis," Marcus told Agent Torres, "but I'm not going back to operational work. I'm a civilian now, and I want to stay that way." The arrangement worked well. Marcus could contribute his expertise to public safety while maintaining the peaceful photography career he'd built. Marcus developed a specialized photography training program for law enforcement agencies, teaching surveillance techniques, long-range documentation, and intelligence gathering through photographic evidence. "The goal isn't to turn police officers into military snipers," Marcus explained to a group of trainees. "It's to teach you how to use photography as an intelligence-gathering tool that can provide crucial evidence and tactical information." Marcus's training emphasized the importance of systematic observation, technical excellence under pressure, and the ability to capture details that might not seem important at the time but could prove crucial to investigations. "Every photograph tells a story," Marcus told his students. "Your job is to make sure that story contains the information investigators need to solve crimes and protect victims." Marcus's photography studio became an informal community safety resource. His technical expertise, combined with his military training and threat assessment, made him someone parents and community leaders consulted about security concerns. But Marcus was careful to maintain clear boundaries between his civilian business and his law enforcement consultation work. "My primary mission is still photography," he told a community safety meeting. "I help families capture their most important moments. Law enforcement work is secondary, and only when it doesn't interfere with serving my photography clients." Marcus had found a way to continue using his military skills in service of his community while maintaining the civilian career he'd chosen. Marcus's success in the Sophie Williams case led to connections with other veterans who had transitioned from military to civilian careers while maintaining their specialized skills. He became part of an informal network of former military personnel who provided expertise to law enforcement when needed. "There are more of us than people realize," Marcus told a gathering of veteran photographers and surveillance specialists. "We're scattered across civilian careers, but we still have skills that can benefit public safety." The network remained unofficial and voluntary, but it provided law enforcement agencies with access to expertise they couldn't easily develop internally. 5 years after her rescue, Sophie Williams had grown into a confident, articulate teenager who credited Marcus not just with saving her life, but with teaching her family about the importance of awareness and preparedness. "Marcus showed us that heroes don't always look like heroes," Sophie told a school assembly about community safety. "Sometimes they look like photographers or teachers or any other regular person, but they have skills and experience that can help when something bad happens." The Williams family remained close to Marcus, and Sophie had developed an interest in photography that Marcus was happy to encourage. "She has a good eye," Marcus told her parents, "and more importantly, she pays attention to details. Those are valuable skills whether you become a photographer or anything else." Marcus began offering specialized services to families and businesses concerned about security. His photography expertise, combined with his military training, allowed him to assess locations, identify potential vulnerabilities, and provide security recommendations. But he always emphasized that his primary business remained traditional photography. "Security consultation is just another way to use observation skills," Marcus explained to clients. "Whether I'm photographing a wedding or assessing a location for safety concerns, it's all about paying attention to details that matter." Marcus's unique combination of skills made him valuable to a wide range of clients, from families planning large events to businesses concerned about protecting their employees. Marcus began mentoring young photographers, teaching not just technical skills, but the importance of awareness, preparation, and community responsibility. "Photography is about more than taking pretty pictures," he told his students. "It's about documenting life, preserving memories, and sometimes providing evidence that can help solve problems or protect people." Some of his students were veterans themselves, transitioning from military to civilian careers and finding that photography provided a way to use their observational skills in peaceful pursuits. "The camera is just a tool," Marcus would tell them. "Your real equipment is your eyes, your brain, and your training. Use them to help people, whether that's capturing their wedding day, it could save a life." Chapter 18. Full circle. 10 years after Sophie's rescue, Marcus had built a successful photography business that also contributed to community safety through law enforcement consultation and security awareness training. He'd proven that military skills could enhance rather than conflict with civilian careers. "People sometimes ask if I miss military service," Marcus told a group of transitioning veterans. "I don't miss the deployments or the danger, but I miss the sense of mission. I found that same sense of mission in civilian life. It just looks different." Marcus's story became an example for other veterans who wanted to find meaningful civilian careers while continuing to serve their communities. "Your military training doesn't become irrelevant when you leave service," Marcus advised. "You just need to find new ways to use it that contribute to civilian life rather than dominate it." Some snipers retire and become military contractors or private security specialists. Others, like Marcus Kane, choose to serve their communities in ways that combine personal fulfillment with public safety. For 12 years, Marcus built a successful photography business, capturing families' most precious moments and building a reputation for technical excellence and artistic vision. But when 8-year-old Sophie Williams was kidnapped, Marcus revealed that he was more than a photographer. He was a former Army sniper whose reconnaissance skills remained sharp and immediately available. The systematic surveillance that amazed law enforcement demonstrated something important. Veterans don't stop serving when they leave the military. They continue serving in different roles, using different tools, but with the same commitment to protecting others. Marcus's story spread because it reminded people that extraordinary capabilities often hide behind ordinary professions. The patient photographer, the detail-oriented artist, the technically precise professional. Any of them might be former military personnel whose training could prove invaluable in crisis situations. Have you ever discovered that someone serving your community had specialized training that became apparent only when circumstances demanded it? Someone whose hidden background emerged during a moment that required unique expertise? Tell us their story in the comments. Because at Veteran Stories, we believe that veterans continue protecting and serving long after they hang up their uniforms, and they deserve recognition for the ways they keep our families safe every single day. Subscribe if stories like this matter to you, because every community has former snipers like Marcus Kane, men and women who chose to use their precision and observational skills not for warfare, but to capture life's beautiful moments and protect children when danger threatens.